Good evening, everyone. Um, Before we start, I would like to confirm if you can all hear me. Can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's good.
Yes, ma, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's session. My name is Waha Kosisochiku, and I will be your moderator for today. We are super excited to have you all here for this enriching experience. And today, we will have a lineup of mentors who will share their insights and expertise on film business and law. Our agenda for today includes mentor presentations, mentee presentations, feedback sessions, and a Q&A segment where you can all interact directly with our esteemed mentors. Please, everyone, let's make this session as interactive and engaging as we can make it to be. Also, you are encouraged to put your videos on. So without further ado, let's start today's session. It's my pleasure to introduce our mentors for today. Our first mentor is Mr. Chibuzo Tiadus Obiajunwa. Mr. Chibuzo Tiadus Obiajunwa is a consummate professional with an eye for excellence and detail. In addition to being a filmmaker and screenwriter with many years of experience, he is an expert litigator. His background is further enriched by wide experience actively working in Nigeria's cinematograph film industry, Nollywood, in diverse roles over 2 decades. He is a frontrunner in setting up a modern and sustainable regulatory framework for the Nigerian film industry in line with global best practices. Wow. Chibuzo Obiajunwa holds a bachelor's degree in law from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Osun State. And he was called to the Nigerian bar in the year 2005. He holds a master's degree in entertainment and sports law from Nasarawa State University, KP. And in addition to being a legal consultant to several international organizations, he is a certified arbitrator. His expertise spans civil and criminal litigation, commercial law, subsuming entertainment law, intellectual property law, and white-collar crimes. Also, he is a member of the Nigerian Bar Association and Directors Guild of Nigeria. Please, let us give a round of applause for Mr. Chibuzo Tiadus Obiajunwa. Our next mentor for today is Mrs. Onajite Oluwafunke Odiete. Miss Onajite Oluwafunke Odiete is a film and TV business executive and entertainment lawyer experienced in content licensing acquisition and distribution of film and TV programming for exploitation of rights by various on-demand and paid TV platforms. She runs Legally Plugged, that is a consultancy firm where we specialize in providing tailored legal solutions exclusively for creators such as music, artists, fashion designers, writers, or content creators. Their mission is to protect your creative endeavors and empower you with knowledge and support you with the need to thrive. Ms. Onajite has had an impressive track record as a legal and business leader in media, film, and TV. She has helped supervise several short films and theatrical productions such as Ball, Gracie, The One for Sarah, EJ, and the upcoming feature film, The Weekend and Kilometer 17. Wow. She started her career in distribution as a content acquisition intern at Premium Box Office TV, and now currently works at Griho Studios as a legal executive for the company. Today, we are honored to have such a distinguished group of professionals with us. Please, for the last time, let us give another virtual round of applause for our two mentors today. That's wonderful. Okay, so we'll be moving on to the next point of our agenda for today. That is the mentors presentation. So we'll proceed to receive a presentation from our mentors, and each mentor will have approximately 20 minutes to present what they have for us, followed by a brief discussion. So for the mentors presentation, I would love to invite Mr. Chibuzo Tiadus Obiajunwa to give us his presentation. Thank you. Please let us give a virtual round of applause as we welcome him to the stand to talk to us. Thank you so much, sir, for being here today. Mr. Theodus Obiajunwa, are you available in this call right now? He's not yet on the call. Oh, okay. So since he's not yet on the call, I would like to introduce our second mentor to give her presentation. Miss Onadite Oluwafunke Odiete, please, I would like to welcome you to the virtual stage to address us all. Thank you so much.
Hello everyone. My kind apologies. It seems our mentors have not yet joined into the call yet. We are trying to reach out to them so that they can join into the call. So while we are waiting for that, please, I would like to ask for the different groups that have made their presentation to start out with their presentation while we await our mentors to join the call. I'm sorry for the little inconvenience. Please, can we start off with presentation first? We can take turns to have our presentations from our mentees, group 1 and then group 2. So please, group 1, if you're ready, you can start out with your presentation. Over to you, moderator. Please, you can hand the floor over to the group 1 presenter for the presentation.
Okay, thank you so much. So, as he mentioned just now, each group, that's group 1 and group 2, will present their work as we wait for the mentors to come on the call. So please, group 1, you have 7 minutes for your presentation, and I would leave the floor to you to give your presentation now. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everybody. I am Akingbade Oluwatomi in favor, the presenter for Group 1, and we're given the topic film business and law. Please, can we all hear me? Please, someone just signify if you can hear me, so I know I'm not talking to
Yes, I can hear you perfectly well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I would like to explain what film business is. Film business is or can also be called film industry or movie industry, and then it refers to the commercial activities or commercial aspects of film production, which encompasses creating of movies and TV shows. Basically, that is what film business is. It deals with the commercial activities of producing a movie. Now, law on the other hand, how does law and film business come together? Although they are two different things, but one way or the other, they have a relationship. So one of the ways that law cuts across film business is in terms of, for instance, contracts. Because of the nature of film business, it is important that contracts will occur amongst the people. For instance, the the director and the crew members. For there to exist a relationship, there must be a contract. So yes, law in that aspect comes to play. Another way is by ownership. Because of the nature of film business, again, it is important. It is the law that enables us to know who the owner of a work is. And ownership can be defined or is defined as the legal right of an individual to own and possess a thing. It is the absolute right a person owns over a product to the exclusion of others. Section 28 of the Copyright Act 2022 explains to us that the author of the work is the first owner of the work. That is, he owns the copyright in the work. However, as we are concerned with Section 29, because we are dealing with film business, and in film business, there is a collective work. There are many people coming together to achieve something. So the ownership there might differ a little bit. So Section 29 of the Copyright Act 2022 also explains to us that unless otherwise agreed, that the copyright in a collective work shall vest in the person who initiates or creates the work. Then paragraph B of the same section explains to us that the authors of the works incorporated in a collective work shall have the right to exploit their works independent of the right in the collective work. So I want us to understand this particular paragraph is saying that, for instance, if 4 people come together to work on a movie, although the ownership collectively will vest in one person, for instance, it will vest in me. For instance, the ownership will vest in me. However, the remaining people who has come together to produce that movie will also have their individual rights to whatever they have contributed. Then another aspect of law that connects to film business is intellectual property law. It is very important that the ownership or the rights of people, the rights and interests of people are protected when it comes to film business, because there is a lot that is going on. For instance, the makeup artists, the actors, the actresses, the musicians that come together to produce a movie. It is important that everybody's work is protected. And the aspect of intellectual property that cuts across film business, most especially, is copyright. And that is the legal protection for creators of original works and grant them exclusive control over their works. Now, what is the major law protecting film in Nigeria? The Copyright Act 2022 is the major law protecting films in Nigeria. And the Nigerian Film and Video Censors Board, NFVCB, is the body, it is the body responsible for regulating film industry in Nigeria. So we have the law, which is the Copyright Act, and we also have a body, which is the Nigerian Film and Video Censors Board, that regulates the affairs of film industry in Nigeria. Now, despite the fact that the law is available to protect the interest of and the rights of copyright owners and all of that, we must not deny the fact that there are still challenges. We still have people that violate the rights of people. For instance, now this Pastor Iren's movie that is ongoing, What About Us, that is available in cinemas now. It is somebody would infringe on his copyright if you go to the cinemas and you make a video of that movie and then you post it on your web or something. By doing that, you infringe on his right, you violate his interest and his rights. So some of these things still happen. I know that there was a time that there was a movie that was showing in the cinemas for a moment before it was released and all of that. And somebody actually made a video in the cinema, which is not supposed to be so. So by doing that, you're infringing on the person's rights and interest. Now, there is something we call chain of title in film business, and this is a track record or a document which helps us to know the owner of a work. It is like a historical book that shows who owns a work, how or when they got the ownership, and then when it passes to another person. So that is what we call chain of title. Now, film financing is another thing. And this, as much as people have imaginations and ideas in their heads of making movies and all of that. It is one thing to imagine, and it's another thing to actually bring it to reality. And for you to do this, you need money. So film financing basically is when you are trying to fund the movie. For instance, maybe you need to, for instance, even paying your crew members, your actors and actresses, that is funding, that is film financing. It is the process whereby you are trying to actualize your imaginations, the movie you intend to do. That is what film financing is. Then also, there are ways that you can finance your movie. You could do it by your personal savings, or it could be through crowdfunding, that is maybe GoFundMe online. Maybe you don't have money to fund the movie. You could open a GoFundMe and tell people what the movie is going to be about and all of that. Then there is another very important one, which is equity financing, equity and debit financing. It is another way for you to fund your movie when you don't have money to do it. Equity financing, for instance, is when an investor funds your film. They do it on your behalf. They will give you the money to do what you want to do. However, in return, in exchange for doing that, they own a part of your work. Profits, they get profits from that. Also, ownership. While for debit financing is when you loan money or you borrow money from a lender, or you pay them back with interest. But in this case, they do not own any part of your work. And there are many more ways for you to fund your film, basically. Now we have collective management. This is when a group of persons or creators of intellectual property come together to manage their rights and interest. For it is when two or more people come together, for instance, copyright owners and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that I was supposed to share. I totally forgot. I'm so sorry. Yes, please, as I was saying, collective management is when So I'm on collective management now. And I was saying that collective management is when people come together, copyright owners come together, and they want to manage their rights and interests. They come together to protect their rights and interests. And in order for them to do that, an organization must be made. It must be established, basically. And that is what we call collective management organizations. And these organizations are usually non-profit organizations. That is, they work without getting any money. They protect the interests of copyright owners without charging, basically. And then these organizations could be public or private entities. It could be government owned, however it to be. The aim is that they're just protecting and standing for copyright owners, basically. Every collective management organization must be recognized and licensed by the NCC, that is the Nigerian Copyright Commission. And the Nigerian Copyright Commission is also a body that is established by the Copyright Act 2022. So far in Nigeria, we have had two major NCC licensed CMOs, and that is the Copyright Society of Nigeria, and we also have the Musical Copyright Society of Nigeria, which is for musical works. There are many more, but these two are the major ones in Nigeria. Now, what is the responsibility of collective management organizations? In addition to what we already have here, I have with me that they help to collect royalties on behalf of the copyright owners. These people stand in gap for copyright owners. Basically, that is what they do. They represent copyright owners. So they help them to collect their royalties. That is maybe the things they get from their work. It could be money, So they are the ones that help them to get these things and then give it to them. And then they are there to represent the interests of copyright owners. I think I've said that already. Then they monitor the extent to which copyrighted works are being used. That is, they ensure that when people are using these works, they do not violate it, they do not use it more than how they should use it. And then lastly, I have here that they also help resolve and settle disputes between copyright owners and users. So where there is an issue arising amongst, for instance, maybe there is an issue arising as to infringement of copyright and all of that, the organization is there to ensure that they settle out of court and ensure that they reach an agreement. Thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Group 1, for your presentation. It was quite interesting, and I will admit that I actually learned a lot from it. Okay, so moving on, Group 2, I would give you the floor to make your presentation. And please remember that your presentation will last for 7 minutes exactly, 7 minutes on the dot. Thank you so much. Please, Group 2, take the floor.
Okay, thank you, Ma. Okay, hello everyone, good evening. My name is Hebziba. We are representing Group 2, and we'll be talking more on the business side of the film industry. But okay, let's share my screen. Okay. All right. Please, can you all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. Hi everyone. My name is Hebziba, representing Group 2, and we will be talking more on the business side of film. But before we go into all of that, we'll just continue from where everyone stopped, talking on the role of copyright in the protection of film, basically. So, the Copyright Act has let us know that there are basic first things first. For your work to be copyrighted, it must be original and it must be fixed, right? And then there are only a certain class of works that can be protected. So you have literary, musical works, artistic works, audiovisual works, sound recording, broadcast. And then we're looking at like the various aspects of a film. You can see there is the script writing part, there is photography, um, there is costume management, there is the props area, there is photography, there is videography. These make up different aspects. Like you can see literary works in the scripts. You can see artistic works with photography, with the props, with the costumes. You can see audiovisual works with the overall finished work. You can see it in the photography, the videography. You can see sound recording in the music and all of that, and the sound effects and things like that. So essentially, the copyright protects every aspect of the film. So for everyone who has a role to play has their own rights to a work that has been protected, that has been released rather. Um, so anything that is done against any part of this work, whether it is releasing the script before time or taking a chunk of it and using it for personal gain to earn money, is infringement. So, except a situation where the act states that it is used for certain reasons, certain purposes, like educational purposes, using an excerpt for a book or for a um, a recording or something. That's the only time that certain parts of a work is allowed to be infringed, quote unquote. Meaning that so once a work is released to the public, it is the entirety of it is to be protected. So all them down to all them net Niger, all them uploaded TV series, as far as they have not these in distribution of these film, as far as there has not been an agreement between the producing company and these releasing companies to ensure that okay, this platform is going to be used for the showing of the film or whatever, that is infringement of some sort. So I've covered copyright enforcement and infringement and part of distribution. So we'll talk um, Sorry, can you still hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. Are you done?
Sorry, no, my network is fluctuating. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Yes,
can
we
hear
can
you.
hear you. Yes, we
Thank you.
can.
Thank you. So we're moving on to contract in film business. The contract basically is an agreement between parties to that puts them binds them under certain obligations to perform certain duties for a common goal. Now, there are basic elements to every contract in which every industry, every business has falls should fall within. Have offer, you have acceptance, you have consideration. The parties must have legal capacity to enter those contracts and all of that. So in the film business, there are specific parties that should be specific elements that should be in that contract. So you have the parties involved, from the producer to the scriptwriter to the directors to the actors. Everybody who has a part to play in the production of a film must have a contract that binds them, and that has a should have a contract that binds them, because you don't want a situation where something happens later on and you say, but you do not tell me that, because it's very easy to deny something that hasn't been. And yes, the contract should be written down, because it's very easy to deny something that has no evidence. It's very easy to just cut corners. It's very easy to find shortcuts that may be detrimental in the long run. The next element is project description. So, if we're coming into this agreement, we want to make a film. What is this going to entail? What is the title of the film? How long is the film expected to be? Shooting time, duration of shoot, um, you know, the kind of costumes that will be used, location. All these basic details should be stated, because you don't want, when bringing in people like actors or costume managers or makeup artists, you don't want a situation where you have something in mind, but you don't have the right people for the work, for the job. Because it's very easy to have talented people, but not everybody's talent is good for a particular work. If you get what I'm trying to say. So rights and ownership, essentially, for contributing something to this work. What are you going to gain from it? Are you going to be What kind of acknowledgement are you going to receive from it? Is it just you know name, just having your name on the cast and crew at the end of the movie, or what kind of benefits are you receiving from it? Basically, financing and budgets. How much do you plan to pump into this movie, and how do you plan to get the money for this movie or for this shoot, for this film? Production and delivery, basically in the description, shooting schedule, location, deadlines for delivery, um, times or call times, closing times, desires of actors. Actors will say, "Oh, I don't want to be on set for more than say 8 hours, or this or that, or anything beyond 10 p.m. I'm out, or anything earlier than 7 a.m. I will not be available." All things like that should be listed in that contract, because a contract is not just the producer telling every other person, "Oh, this is what I want." There has to be an agreement. There has to come to a meeting of the mind to say, "Okay, this is the common goal that we are going for. We want to produce, say, a tribe called Judah. So this is what it entails. What can you afford to offer in terms of your time, in terms of your energy, in terms of your resources? What is it that you can? And if something is going to stretch you, let us know. Give us any clauses that are going to affect this shoot. Should be mentioned. marketing and promotion, distribution, what platforms are going to be allowed to stream. Is it going to be in the cinemas only? Does Netflix have to come in? Does Prime have to come in? Are we going to bring Hulu? Things like this should be stated as well. Payments and compensation, clearly, for every work you have to pay. You have to be paid for the work that you put into it, especially if it's something that's going to fetch money to the company. And then in the event where there's going to be disputes, are we going to go by are we going to settle out of court? Are we going to mediate? Are we going to use arbitration? It should be noted. And then in the event that okay, when this is all done, said and done, how are we going to end? Or is this going to be a lifetime contract and so on and so forth? Everything that is going to affect every party must be stated. Because I mean we are human, so it's very easy for somebody to just say, "What is your job now?" No, it could be, yeah, it's my job, but then I have limits as a person. We all have limits as people, and so it's better that it is all stated so that when things are going beyond your limits, you can step back and say it was not agreed on. Or in the event that there are new intervening factors, you can step aside and say, okay, how do we go further from here? How do we handle the situation and things like that? So there are different kinds of contracts in film production. Like you said, it's very, very crucial in any business to have contracts that are binding them and at every stage. So in the film business, we have film pre-production contracts. That's essentially where at the beginning stage, nothing has been done yet. This is just where you're gathering all the people from cast to crew to producers and all of that. That's where you're going to, give them, okay, this is what's going on. Everybody, how are you going to be part of this, this production that's about to happen? Right purchase agreement. So where in the event where um, a part of that production is going to be got from external sources. For example, the producer did not write the script, or he wants to, use his friend's brother's son. How is that going to how are we going to bring that in and ensure that though he might not be a part of this company, but for the fact that we're using his script or using this person's videography skills or using this musician's song or using this person's beats, how are they going to be awarded their rights? We have life rights in the event where you know you are signing off your career to this particular company. It should be there should be a contract written. I think an example is I think the actor, the voice of Barbie, the OG Barbie of 2005, that one. I think she had been given a contract where she was not allowed to use her voice for any other production, at least for a very long period of time. I can't remember if it was Barbie, but I think it is. So things like that should all be stated because anything outside that is because of the peculiarity of say the show Barbie, you can see that we don't need that voice cannot be just found anywhere else for a certain kind of PR and all of that. There is production contracts, so that includes the crew, the cast arrangements, the locations that are going to be used, the places, the venues that you're going to use because they're owned by people as well. So they have to know, okay, you're going to be using my restaurants for 3 hours. You're going to be using this part of this table. You're going to be using my house. You're going to be using my event center, things like that. And then post production. This is so now the whole movie is we're done shooting the movie, right? So editor agreements, distribution agreements, marketing, PR, all these things are part of post production. So everything that makes the movie what we as consumers can see has to be all written down. Now royalties is essentially the payments that everybody who has contributed received. So this movie is blowing. This movie is making waves, getting into people's eyes. People are loving it. It's not in.
I'm so sorry, please, your client is almost, you have less than 1 minute left, so please, can you, round up?
Okay, okay. So I was talking royalties. So as movie is making waves, or let's say the people are loving a particular scene, a particular song in the movie, a particular sound, something. The fact that that is causing the movie to make more money, because the people involved or the persons involved have to be awarded that respect, because in that moment, if it's a particular part of the movie, we're not looking at the entire production, we're looking at those people involved. So they have to be awarded, you know, as the money comes in and so on. So essentially, we always said, how can we ensure that, you know, the film business contracts, there is no issue of overstepping or over exploitation or infringement and all of that. I would say, yeah, our laws are there. Our law has been, reformed, but there is still room for improvement. There's still room for open-endedness because it's very easy for people to find loopholes. Because no matter how inclusive we think the law is, people will always find loopholes. So it's important that lawmakers go into the minds of people, think into the minds of the public and see areas that they can easily bypass and close those ends. Enforcement. So currently, I think our law is in a good place, in a fair place. So, but it's important that one, there is enough awareness. How are you enforcing? How are you ensuring that you know people's rights are not infringed on? The production of the movie is not being sold to illegal sources or being made, or the money being made by illegal sources that were not part of the distribution contract and all of that. So it's important to ensure that there are more secure bounds to a movie, to a film or whatever production. So that will be the end of our presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. Group two, you guys did really, really, really well. Group one, I also like to congratulate you again. The one and two representers really, gave their full and their honest best. So moving on, I would like to move on to the next agenda for today, which is picture time. So please, everyone, can you put on your video, please, as we would be taking a screenshot to, as a picture for this session today. So please, I would encourage you all to put on your video for picture time. Thank you, thank you. Please put on your video for picture time. Just 45 seconds, then we'll be good to go.
We are done with the pictures. Thank you.
Okay, that's wonderful. We are done with the pictures. Okay. So during the presentation by the mentees, one of our mentors came online, or she came to the meeting. So I would like to I would love to bring to the floor Miss Onajite Oluwafunke Odiete to give her own presentation. Miss Onajite, please, I'll wait for your presentation. Okay. I would like to leave the floor to you. Thank you so much.
Hello, everybody. So, before I start my presentation, I listened to the two presentations by the two groups, and I must say that I was really impressed. You guys did like your research properly. Like, I even want to give you a round of applause. Like, I'm super, super duper impressed, right? And now I'm going to. Am I sharing my screen, or that'll be done for me? So I have a presentation to actually like flow from.
Yes, ma, you can share your screen, ma.
Okay, but I feel like I'm just going to be talking based on like from my head, because I actually have something, but I listened to you guys and I'm so impressed. And I feel like you guys have like kind of hit the nail on the head. So, okay. Now, what I'm going to start with is I'll start from flowing off from group one and like just noting the things down that I really, really want to touch on or expatiate on. Like, so I'm going to be going like that. Is that okay? So, let's start with group one presentation, which is on ownership. I don't know how many people, I don't know how many people remember the case of this recent case that just happened now with Iniedo and Chichi Nwora over Shanty Town. Please, if you know the case, just raise up your hand in the groups in the chat box. Do you know what happened? Should I give a brief breakdown, or should I nominate a volunteer to explain to us? Please, oh yeah, let me see hands. Let me see hands. Who knows what happened? The Shanty Town. Can you all hear me? Okay, said I should please give a brief breakdown. All right. So what happened was, okay, Chichi Nwora is a producer and of Shantytown, and then is she has a relationship with Netflix, and then she goes ahead to release the film under her company, her production outfit, right? Now, Iniedo, who is her friend, now comes and says they're not decided that okay, they're going to release a part two, like give us a part two, right? And lo and behold, you know how people get. What that means is that means more money. That means that they are going to release a second part, which means that they have to call some people back and still give. Like, it's basically more money. India says, oh, that Chichi Nwora cannot do that without her permission, because I know that you guys also touched on joint collaboration, which I would like talk more on when I get there. And she was like, oh, that you can't do that without my permission because I also co-own the story and the script, right? Now they went to court, and the court actually held that, first of all, having perused the copyright documentation, it is clear that the person that owns the copyright actually is Chichi Nwora. So what does that tell you? That tells you that, first of all, I don't know if we're all lawyers here, but it's very important that when you are like when I don't know who is a lawyer or you're still law student still in school, but even when you graduate and everything, I think that it's very imperative that you state to your clients that yes, fine, copyright is automatic upon creation, but for you to be able to prove your ownership, it's best for you to do like a proper copyright documentation, because this case has kind of set a precedent for how court is going to decide who is the person that owns the copyright. And I always say this, that there's nothing new under the sun. Two people can have similar stories, right? And it now depends on your creative expression. That's what makes it different. That's what makes it unique. But two people can have similar premises. There are so many stories like that even in Hollywood and Nollywood. But what matters is that even if copyright protects the creation of your work, even when you've written it down, it's best for you to also register that work with Nigerian Copyright Commission. And the process is not hard. The process is what's the process? The process is tell your clients to give you the script or the treatment. The treatment is like an outline. Tell them to also give you a means of ID that they can use to identify themselves. If it's a company, you know that obviously a company is an artificial person. So obviously a company, not a business name, because you know that business name cannot own a property, but a company can own a property. So if they are registering to a company, explain to your client that as you're registering to a company, the company is the one that is going to hold this intellectual property, because you are now creating it on behalf of the company. So where is a company, you need to to draft a board resolution stating that you want to give the rights to the script or to the audiovisual work to the company. So I just wanted to touch on that, on ownership. Please, if you are following me, please raise up your hand, because I don't know. I like an engaging class. So just raise up your hand if you are following me. Yes. Kosi Chuku, Olamide Priscilla, Sheun Fumi to Sheun Fumi. I think you're the one that presented for group 1, and I loved your presentation. Very good. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. So yes. So I also want to touch on this, the owner of a cinematographic work. So I'm going to say that a cinematographic work has different, just like, I don't know if you guys know that in music, there are like 3 different rights in music. There's the sound recording, there is the like musical composition, and then there is the performance, right? It's the same way that cinematography is a collection of different works in one audiovisual work. So what that means is that in a cinematographic work, you can also have a literary work, which is a separate, different copyright. Then you have what's it called now? You can also have original music composition. That's your music score. You know all those sound when you be hearing or why is the world so wicked? All this kind of like original composition for the film. That's another rights that you have in a cinematographic work. And it's not cinematographic work anymore. I think the new Copyright Act calls it audiovisual work. I think they've corrected that from cinematographic work to audiovisual work. And I noticed that I noticed that you guys stated that, oh, the right to do and authorize the doing of any of the following acts. But the new Copyright Act has also included that you can also distribute and exhibit the audiovisual work in a wireless or I think the word is wireless means. That's by the internet, where anybody that wants to come online can come online. And as the what's the English now that I want to use now? That if you want to distribute your work, you have the right to also distribute your work via the internet, where people can access at any time that they want. That is also inclusive. And I noticed that wasn't there. Then now I'm going to talk about joint ownership. Now, joint ownership means that 2 people that they have equal rights, but sometimes it might not be equal. That's one thing I want you guys to understand. It might not be equal. You can have like 3 different people own a copyright work, but it might not be equal. Some persons might have 70%. Some persons might have, it depends on what the contract says actually. Some persons might have 30% or 20%. So one is not equal. You already you as a lawyer or as a law student who is about to graduate and has that back of mind that they want to serve clients in the entertainment film industry. That's why I recommend that the film industry is very collaborative. So you're going to know that there are going to be a lot of collaboration agreements you're going to draft. You have to have it at the back of your mind that if, let's say, my client is doing bulk of the work, he's bringing the money, he's doing the script, he's doing this one, he's doing that one, you're going to want to give them an advantage and say, okay, in this contract, let's put that you have 70%. You have, can you all hear me? That you have 70% ownership in this work, and that if there's any issues that may arise out of this work, like the person with the major, just like how it is with company, that the person with the major shares has the final decision. That's the way you should see how joint ownership is. Sometimes when it's 50-50, you should also still include someone with the overriding veto power, like someone with the overriding decision, so that, because most times, a lot of times when people are collaborating on a work, there might be issues that, oh, they want maybe there's a top platform that they want to sell the rights to the top platform, and another person saying no, they don't want that. That's going to slow you down. It's going to slow your client down. You need to ensure that your clients, especially if your client has done major things and done a lot of work for, in that particular piece or that particular film, not to make sure that your client has like the overriding decision. So I just needed you guys to capture that as this general requirements. Okay. So the next one is IP. IP, not just IP has different kinds of IP. You have the copyright, the trademark. I'm not sure you guys really touched on the trademark, but trademark now would mean the title of the film, the characters, the special characters, although we've not really tapped into that in Nigeria, but a lot of people are still go to trademark. So for example, an actor might want to trademark his brand name, you understand, or in a particular class, because there are different classes under the NICE classification. So another thing that you want to trademark is colors, the logo, and let me say something about this logo. There are some films, if you notice a lot of films, go and check it. There are a lot of films that have a very, very mad ass title art. What the title art means is the way and manner in which the film is presented to the audience. So for example, like I think The Rise Guy, if you notice, The Rise Guy is a movie, has a very, very bold font. You can actually trademark that for the film. Or let's say you can also trademark or patent like unique designs. So most times, if let's say your client has the budget to go over the top and do a film that is selling fashion, is selling different unique pieces, and they actually get a fashion designer to design a lot of clothes, you want to make sure that the contracts usually will state that the producer owns the IP in those new fashion pieces that they are creating on behalf of the company. And you want to make sure that they are also trademarking all those fashion pieces. Patenting the industrial designs of all those fashion pieces. So regulation. So I noticed that I don't know if that's an error, but the National Film and Censors Board does not regulate things like ownership. It is the Nigerian Copyright Commission. What the National Film Censors Board does is to regulate the kind of films that comes out of Nigeria. So that means that once you've done a film, it depends on what the film. It depends now on where the film is going to. If the film is going to cinema, you have to ensure that film gets a rating. Now there are different classifications. There is the 13 is going to be either rated 13 or going to be rated 18 or going to be rated 16 or going to be rated XR, which is like for adult content. So it's very important that even if you are going to a streaming platform, also there is a different process of how to also get ratings for a streaming process, and it's different from when you are going to cinema. So I just want you guys to understand that first, because I noticed that there was nothing like that, and those are the kind of things that I'm correcting. So challenges, however, the digital age has introduced new challenges as unauthorized streaming and downloads of film online. Yes, piracy is still the number one topic, and I know that the National Copyright Commission is working hands in hands with the JIIPCC and also National Film Censors Board. I know that there was a time when I think they had an initiative to go to Alaba market and seize almost all the CDs, and now they're trying to ensure that also it's very difficult to come online, but they're always trying to ensure that a lot of people can maybe afford all these shipping platforms, which I don't know that's how that's going to work because Netflix just increased their fees again. So I'll quickly go to, I think I'm done with group one, am I? Chain of title. Yes, you're very right. In the clear documentation for chain of title, the chain of title just essentially means that it just points to who the owner of the work is. Because I told you that in film there's a compilation of different rights, and there's also a collaborative film. Is like it takes a village to make a film. It can be over 80 people crew on set just trying to make one product. So it's very important that all those 80 people point to one person to make it easier for distributors. Can you hear me? It says my network is unstable. Can you all hear me?
Yes, I can hear you,
Can
ma.
you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Yes. So, okay, thank you very much. Please, if you're enjoying this session, just raise up your hand. I need to know that everybody's listening. If you're enjoying this session, please kindly just raise up your hand, raise up your hand, raise up your hand. Yes, yes. Thank you very much, Idara. Thank you, Cosman. Thank you, Dabru. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, everybody. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back. Thank you. Okay, so I like the ending of this. It says of this particular part, it says additional filmmakers should also consider conducting copyright searches. Yes, also engaging an entertainment lawyer. Also, I think that filmmakers should also ensure that they take steps to actually copyright register their film. And yes. Okay, next one is film financing. I would pause on film financing now and go back to the group two because I still want to touch on other things like yes. Okay. Contracts in film business. Contracts in film business.
Good evening, ma. Ma, we can't hear you again.
I think Miss Onajite is currently having some network issue. I'm sure she'll be able to join us shortly. So please let's just kindly exercise a little patience while we wait for her to join into call.
Hi everyone. Okay, so sorry about that. I have to use my phone because I have this network issue. Okay. All right, so let's go. I said that there are 5 stages of um production. There are 5 stages involved in filmmaking, which is the development stage. Development stage is really the stage before you start assembling your team. Really stage where you are still trying to get your idea to a script, and you're still trying to get source for financing, and you're still trying to ensure that okay, you're doing changes here and there. Most times during the development stage, there are a lot of tweaks that happens to the story. Sometimes the story, maybe the story like a boy meets girl, a boy falls in love with girl, a boy dates girl, a boy marries girl. When by the time you get your first draft, you can have like several drafts, even up to draft 10, and your story has completely changed. So most times you need to understand in those scenarios, if you are working in-house, which script you have to register, because you know that okay, the story has so much changed from the original inception, from the original idea, and which one are you going to go with, right? So also during that stage is also a stage where you are sending out NDA, and you are telling people about your project, you're telling people about your idea, you're trying to assemble your team. And or alternatively, during development stage can also be a process where, okay, I'm a producer and I want to acquire the rights to a book. Now, a book is already a different IP that belongs to somebody else, somebody totally different. And you want to ensure that, okay, what are you going to do to acquire that book? It doesn't have to be a book, it can be another film. If you want to acquire the rights to another film, the idea is that you are acquiring the rights to an idea or an already established copyright work that belongs to somebody else. And the process that what happens really is that you first of all option to write that book of film. What does option mean? Option means that taking off this your literary material or your book or your film off the market. I'm telling you that please do not further exploit your film. I'm going to take excess amount of money.
So you're going to draft maybe a rights acquisition film. You can the rights acquisition agreement. Sorry, a rights acquisition agreement. The rights acquisition agreement would include things like, oh, okay, taking off your film from the market for like maybe 12 months, and I'm going to pay you excess fee. If I cannot exercise the rights to make that film, I'm going to ask for an additional 12 months and I'm going to pay you X amount. This is what you should do. And this is what I'm going to do during that time. During that time, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to ensure that I try to get it pitched to a different platform, or I try to get commissioning rights to make the film, or I try to develop the film and I have in-house writers that can actually develop the film from the book or the film to from the book or a film to a screenplay. Which a screenplay, the difference between a screenplay and just a literary material, any kind of literary material, is that the screenplay is actually made for film or TV. It's the way and format it's because there's always a format that they accept. The way and format it is made for film or TV. So that's when you have, during your development stage, you have film development, you have your film option agreement. Also, if you are developing in-house, you have your script writer agreement, or you have your story development agreement. What does story development agreement mean? Story development agreement means that I have this idea, but I cannot I cannot put it together. I need to engage like somebody, not necessarily a writer, but I need to engage that person to be able to like properly couch that idea properly. And I need to like get a lot of people like that. Usually they're writers, but they are not writing. That's the major difference. They are writers, but they are not writing anything. They are just going to help you flesh out your story. So you will get like 4 different people to come and flesh out that story for you, and you have a writer's room where they are doing it, where they are having different workshops, you understand, and fleshing out that story for you. So what kind of credit do you give those kind of people? Please let me hear chat your answers on the chat box and let me know what kind of credit you can give people like that don't write but flesh out your story for you. Let's go. Okay, someone said script editor. All right, thank you. I need some more answers and I'll continue. Okay. Okay, so all of you are all wrong. But you tried. The person that is actually even close is maybe the script editor. Now I'll explain. So you have a group of writers. What are the credit you're going to give them is story by, or that is the credit you're going to give them, even though you also are is the owner of the copyright. What that means is that most times you guys will be sharing that credit. The script editor, where the script editor comes in is where you have a written script already, and you just feel like this written script is not giving. It's not giving what it's supposed to give. You not engage a script editor to edit and make that story very, very cutesy. Do you understand? So that is what essentially the script editor does for you, and the script editor gets their own credit as a script editor, or they can also get additional writing by their name. So those are the kind of things that, yes, it's not screen story, story by, not screen story, just story by. If the person now develops the story further, develops the treatment, flesh out the characters, give you a character Bible, give you like a bit sheet, all the breakdown of everything, then also write that particular story. Now put that idea and everything and the treatment that they've done into like the screenplay. You now give them screenplay by or written by. That's when they now become like they have their writing credits. So another one I need you to, also live rights also is development stage where you are getting the true life story of someone. I don't know how many people have watched Baby Rinder, Oloture. Those are examples of live rights where it's a story that actually happened. So, or even Fumilayo Ransom Kuti, it's a story that actually happened, and you are trying to get that story out. But you need to understand that sometimes even The Crown is a life story because you're getting the story from the royalty and things like that. What you need to be careful about as a producer that is getting live rights is your creative license. Your creative license, what does creative license mean? It means that your ability to tell that story how you want to tell that story. So you don't need to go in the actual way that it happened, but or even House of Guys live rights, because I know that Gabashorun was someone that actually, like that's how it was. I don't know how many people have watched all these films I've mentioned, but I'm just giving you ideas of how live rights works. So during that's still a development stage. You say, okay, oh wow, this incredible idea, the House of God, we need to get it. During that development stage, you are doing your research. So that means you're going to pay researchers. So that means you need to. This one is not just a fiction that you are doing now, because if you don't tell the story right, it's going to vex a lot of people, not just the family members, but also the people that it happened to. October 1, there are a lot of live rights that have been made, right? But you just need to understand differences between a fiction and getting a live right. So now you're in the development stage, you need to get researchers. Most times those researchers will also get credits. Those researchers are also writers, but they will get credit as writers as well, or researchers. Then you need to ensure that, in the agreement with them, you are stating that as the research that they've done is accurate and it is to the best of their knowledge. Those how you swear for an affidavit. That's how you have to make sure that there's a strict representation and warranty clause for them. So now, after moving from the research stage, you now go to the story stage, which is engaging a creative writer to write it. You have to ensure that you have the creative license to do whatever it is you want to do, turn the story to how you want them to. But you also have to seek permission from the family members and give them that story and give them the script. Most of the time, tell them what the script is going to be about, because you cannot do a film and then portray that the life right of the person that you're acquiring in a very, very bad and despicable manner. Do you understand? You have to make sure that what you are doing. Another very, very perfect example. Oh my God, I forgot the title of this show. But that film really, really happened to. There's this girl that was based abroad. Like, she always feels like, oh, she's very rich and everything. Oh God, I can't remember. But it's a Shonda Rhimes film. And then she's always feeling like, oh, she's on top of the world. Meanwhile, she's stealing from people. She's stealing from the rich and, making herself rich. She's stealing from the rich and making herself rich, basically. That's what she's doing. So the way they portray that film, it is bad though. But the way they portray that film is that you are going to feel some kind of emotions for the person that you are acquiring their live rights. It's also another form of promotional stunt that you can do for a person who has a bad character. You just want to portray. A lot of people do it as well, where they now do films about themselves. Maybe their brand reputation is dead on arrival, and they just want to resurrect their bad reputation.